All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is share a screen over here. Okay. All right, so I haven't done anything with the home page yet. Okay. But we have the routes that we talked about. So there's an explore page here that just, this uses Ganesh, the paginated route, and we've got a nice load more going here. And it's just a parameter for how many of these are loaded in advance. So, right, just an easy way to explore. Search is half built, but I need to do a little bit of arithmetic and style this a little bit so people can go where they want to go. And by the way, I have the UNSIG's backend server running in the background on localhost 8080. And that's where all of this UNSIG data is coming from. And I'll take you over to the code in just a second. The marketplace view for now is just a random view, right? So explore and marketplace, they don't yet have functional distinctions, but I was just creating different ways to browse the UNSIGs in the first place. Same loading behavior here. And every one of these UNSIGs cards has a property for whether or not it's offered right now, right? And so what I did, and let me check this NAMI wallet. Yeah, we're on testnet right now. Ganesh sent me these 3 test UNSIGs. And so if I connect a wallet, oh, it says I'm already connected. I should see, well, I can go to my collection first, right? So here's, you can see in my NAMI, once again, that I have numbers 1, 2, and 16. And that's what you see rendering on my collection page right here, okay? And there's this is not a component level property. This is just in this, we use site context with easy peasy just to store an array of the UNSIG IDs that somebody owns, right? Once they load a wallet. And then we can access that context across the site whenever we render an UNSIG, and it's going to say you own this like this. So if I go back to explore now, right, you can see numbers 1 and 2 say you own this, and the other ones don't. If I load more so that I can see number 16, that one I own this, but the other ones I don't, right? And then we can use that conditionally to say when we're able to sell an UNSIG. And I haven't built that in yet, all right? But if I click on an UNSIG, here we go, just kind of big, highlighting the art. You can see some like pixelated lines on my screen share there, but those don't come across on the screen itself. And then I just have to make these buttons work, right? And this is kind of the outcome that we're looking for today, is to make it possible if I own this. Notice I haven't added the logic here to say that I do own this. So I have to do that. But if I own it, I should be able to list it. If it's listed, I should be able to try to buy it. Okay. Questions so far?
And if you don't own it and it's not listed, you won't be able to see it here, right?
So I will be able to still explore, right? Anything I don't own that's not for sale, I can still pull up this page and we'll just make these buttons either disappear or deactivate, right? We could just change this button so it says not for sale and doesn't do anything.
Okay.
It's not for sale. Yeah.
Mm.
Other questions? Cool. So like I said, this is working with testnet right now. So let me switch over to the code. Okay, so first of all, here's the store for the site, right? Connected, once we are connected, holds the wallet address. Okay, so it starts out as null, so it returns false. And then once a wallet is connected, this connected state variable gets the wallet address. Okay. And then owned unsigs starts as an empty array. And then it just grabs the unsig IDs of any that are owned, which we can then look at like this. So we grab use store state from easy peasy. We say inside the component, we say, okay, grab the state of those owned unsigs. And then we just set the Boolean is owned, right, to whether or not that array of unsigs includes the string that we're currently working with. Okay, the unsig ID that we're currently working with. So that's that logic right there, and we can just use that elsewhere in the site. So this is the code right here for the cards that appear on the Explore, Marketplace, and My Collection pages. And then there's, like the full page. Now, Ganesh, one thing I wanted to show you, I mean, and I don't know, this is clearly inefficient, but it's also just so easy to use, and I'm not sure how much we gain, but if you go to collection here, I'm not even using the paginated endpoint, right? I'm just saying, look, like make a list of unique random integers. No, that where this is, oh no, that's my collection. Sorry, I want to go to marketplace to show you this. For marketplace, right, we used the random scroll list. So let me go to that. Okay, but right, so this is what's appearing in the marketplace view. I don't have a strong opinion on whether it's better to have an ordered view or a random view, but I noticed that in Spacebuds, and I've seen elsewhere, that like a random default is probably neat for browsing, right? As long as there's searchability. So for that random view, I'm just creating a list of numbers and checking for uniqueness in the range of unsig indexes, and then hitting the endpoint. Right, and then yeah, just mapping that array into rendering a bunch of unsigs. Unsig takes number as a property, and then each time a card loads, it hits the endpoint for that unsig, right? Not perfectly efficient, but for the scale we're talking about and how easy that is to maintain, is that okay?
Yeah, so I think it's a good idea to show random unsigs. And for this use case, we can also add another endpoint wherein you can pass in the list of unsig IDs that you randomly select.
Oh,
And
great.
the backend will return in one response all those unsig.
Right on. Okay, that would be better. So yeah, I mean, if you have time to build that, go for it, and we'll use it. If we don't do that right away, that's okay too. So just let me know if you get around to that. But I would say that would be a nice to have, but not urgent. The wallet connection logic all happens in this wallet button component. And I followed along with Spacebuds to make sure I had this part working. All right, so this is where we're finally using the serialization libraries that Abdel Karim loaded in. We can talk through this logic step by step. I think it's better for everybody just to take a look, and we will we're going to continue to use logic like this today if we get to the point of actually building out the marketplace transactions. Okay, but if you're looking for the site logic, or sorry, the wallet connection logic, this is where you'll find it in component wallet button, wallet button. All right. There's two lines that you have to configure to switch between testnet and mainnet. One of them is right here in wallet button, where NAMI returns a get network ID of 0 if you're on testnet and a value of 1 if you're on mainnet. And so we just check for that. And then the other thing you've got to configure, and both of these details are in the README now, right? So I mentioned this file, wallet button, changing the 0 to a 1. The other thing we have to do is on the collection page, which is where, you know, we search the user's wallet for unsigs to see which ones they have. Here's the testnet policy ID for the fake unsigs that Ganesh minted today. And then here's the mainnet actual policy ID. So you would just comment that in and out. Any other questions or anything that it would be really helpful to see before we start playing with the contracts?
No, thanks.
You bet. Good things. All right. And Adrian, I see that you got into the folder on SIG's Market Plutus. Oh, there it is now. Nice. Okay. I didn't see all this at first. So here, let me switch again. And I'm happy to keep driving for now until it becomes unproductive. But yeah, I haven't even looked at the actual code here yet, right? So this is the code we're trying to run today, yeah?
Yep, it should work. I was able to lock an LFD and close the sale with the CLI.
Cool. Did you upload the compiled Plutus?
Yes, I think it's in testnet folder.
Beautiful. Okay, and this is compiled for testnet?
Yep.
Testnet address. Okay. So I know I would benefit from trying this first on CLI, and that's likely to eat up our time today. But so I could also do that asynchronously, and we could look at some of the interactions on the front end. But I guess, yeah, I'm thinking out loud right now, sorry. I'm thinking the best use of time might be just to really make sure we understand the market interactions from a CLI perspective. And then maybe if anybody wanted to get together tomorrow, then we could look together at doing this on the front end.
Yeah, sure. We can go together on this tomorrow, and we can integrate it with the front end now that we have the CBOR and the address. Yeah.
Rock and roll, right? So we've basically got the pieces we need, and now we just have to play with it. And I don't have a hard stop in 36 minutes either. So if we go over time, I'm happy to stick around, but always no apologies necessary if you got to jump off, okay? Okay, so I'm actually, for now, this is all I need. I'm going to keep the marketplace open in my browser. But for now, I'm just going to download this. Put it in the right folder. Let's put it here. Well, I'm not even going to grab the rest of this repo right now. I am going to leave open the on-chain contract. And will I see that test net? Where, Adrian, did you hard code in the policy?
In utility.
Nice. That's pulled in
Yes.
from here.
And
Excellent. Okay, there it is. Beautiful. All right, I like that design pattern. Thanks for this. Okay. So I think I can do, you know what? If I do this in VS Code, then we can draft transactions and copy and paste them into the terminal as we go. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Six test. Good. All right. So switching screens one more time. Some examples. I cleaned up this example repo that I shared yesterday. This is kind of the boilerplate we want to do first, right? So I'm just going to grab some of this stuff over here as a starting point. Create. I tend to use the variable sender just to represent my local wallet. And I have testnet up and running. Test wallet over here. This one is where I have my unsigs. So I could just grab that address. And I'll need the sender key from that folder there. Obviously, these are not best practices if I'm talking about mainnet, but I'm not worried about making some testnet public or signing keys public. Okay. And so now if I have some bad Python. I can close that server for now. I have some bad Python in that repo I shared. So it's not good for everything, but it does allow me to do things, just a little bit easier. And I'll clean, oops. So I can set the environment. See that I'm synced, so that's nice. I can also see, all right, no, those unsigs aren't in that wallet. That's okay. So yeah, I'm actually, this is good, this is good. I'm actually gonna lock, in order to get some funds locked, I can use this address, but this is not that NAMI wallet that I set up. Okay. And I've also got, I'm just looking at at the code here. Putting this in the Zoom chat. So we want to be able to buy or update or close, and that's our redeemer. So when it comes to now locking funds, yes, we want this. Yes, I gotta grab test now. The script file. Is here in the same folder, right? So I should just be able to say market.plutus. Data, fill in just a second. Fill in just a second. I need a collateral transaction. Okay, so now looking back over at the code, and does everybody have that open on their screen, or should I switch back and forth to look at Adrian's code?
I just opened it from my side, but I don't know about the.
Let me know if anybody needs me to switch back. But I'm going to keep my notes open here and just be composing there. So one thing I haven't yet done is used a redeemer other than an integer when I'm building a transaction this way, right? So our choices for what the redeemer says are buy, update, and close. Can we do that just as a string? If I just type tx in redeemer value buy, that's not sufficient, is it? Documentation now. And Adrian, maybe you have the answer for us. How do you indicate the redeemer here?
There is, if you download my script file, my files, there is a executable that produces the correct output, the correct output is.
All right, I'm looking for that. What folder is
And
that?
there are also field JSON files with the buy, update, and close value.
Nice. So I see update, close, and buy. Cool, cool, cool. So update is how I start an offer.
No.
Oh.
No.
No, update is actually to change the price. So if you made an offer and you want to change the price on that offer, you can call that endpoint. Is that right, Adrian?
Yes, that's right. You have to wait a second. You have to produce the correct script data. You can do that with the executable datum.json. If you put in the app folder.
And well, there is one
that
thing
will produce the correct sale. That's the data that you sent them, and if you want to buy it, you have to use the same. You understand?
Almost. Okay, no, I haven't gone this far yet with using. Right. Okay, no, this is really
there's
good.
something. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify just one thing. So when you lock funds into a contract, so you are just sending an NFT to the contract or something, and you don't need to supply a redeemer. So you just
Oh, that's right. That's right. When I
So-
lock the funds, right? I'm sitting here thinking about unlocking them already.
okay. So we have to locking them first and then try to unlock them.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, so locking doesn't even require the script file.
Yes,
It
it
just
doesn't.
requires, sorry, right.
Datum and
requires-
datum hash. Datum hash actually.
And then, forgive me, my head is still, I'm thick-headed on this. When we lock a UTXO at the contract for the first time, what exactly are we locking in that UTXO?
So basically, you are going to send some funds or an NFT. So in our case, we want to send an ANSIG to the marketplace, to the contract, or to the marketplace.
Right.
So you do it the same way you do it with sending an NFT to another address. It's the exact same way. But you have to add a datum hash as in your transaction, because this is the way we are going to unlock it later.
And as far as I understand, if you don't include a datum hash when you send to a contract address, whatever you sent there is now lost. Am I saying, is
Yes.
that really
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, it's true if the validator is doing something. But whether is this, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is, you can write a validator where it accept everything. So it will always work. It will always return true. But if you're using something to validate, then if you don't set the datum hash, then say goodbye to your NFTs.
So I don't think that's right. I think I agree with you that you can write a contract that accepts anything for the datum or doesn't even look at it. But I think even for a contract like that, you have to include datum to lock a UTXO at a contract address. I haven't seen it work. I've tried it, and I might be doing it wrong, but I've tried with the simple contract that accepts anything, locking a UTXO, and then being unable to unlock it.
Okay. Then if you don't set a datum hash, then it's a game over.
It's
Okay.
just gone, right? But double check, like that's something that if somebody else could double check me on that and see if there's a way to do it, I'd be really curious. But as far as I understand right now, that's where we're at. So even without Plutus, if you have, well, you need Plutus, I guess, to build a Plutus script to make a contract address. But once you do that, if you send a UTXO there, right? Like datum can just live there anyway. And you can be like, you could just hide some funds and somebody can only get them if they can match your datum hash.
Okay.
I think Yas mentioned that in a lecture, but I'm not sure in which one. That you are right, James.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
All right, so we want to build something. What are the minimum requirements? And I have some notes on this over here. Okay. Locking. Oh, here's, okay. This is locking. So I need a TX in, obviously. I need something to go to the script address, and I must include the datum hash. Change address, Oracle. Yeah, so it's, right, it doesn't take much because the script address could only have been generated from the Plutus script. And so really that's that's all the information it needs. And then once something is there, right, in order to unlock it, that's where we have to include the script file and the redeemer value as well. Even collateral, right? Collateral, it does not come into play when we are locking funds. That's only in the role of unlocking.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so what we want to lock here is an NFT. And oh, right, and those are in my Nami wallet too, right? So all of this is so funny. So I could send one of those NFTs out of my Nami wallet and then over here to this. No, but I could still query the UTXO's address, but I don't have the sender key. Right, okay, so I would need, if I wanted to do this way on the CLI, I would have to first grab one of those fake unsigs. I would then send it to the address that I have. That's not a NAMI address, but just like this testnet address over here where I have the sender key locally, or sorry, the signing key locally. And then I could lock up that NFT and then I could try to unlock it here. But now that I kind of see that outline and I think about doing this without NAMI, I don't think it really is worth the time. I kind of just want to try to build this. Or Adrian, do you want it? Because I mean, I need some background time to understand and use what you've included. Could we spend the last 20 minutes just having you give us a tour of what we can do with the scripts that you prepared in this repository?
Yeah, sure.
Would that be okay? Here, I'm going to unshare. And make you the host. Yeah, this would help me. And thanks for bearing with me as I think out loud, everybody. It's a lot.
So I will share my screen and show you what I've done.
Cool, thanks.
Hmm. Yeah, I have already logged it again, my NFT. Yeah, that's the script address, and you can see there is one unsig locked, the unsig 15. And I have yeah, I've done. I can show the code I have used. Yeah, that's just the code. And like James showed, it's basically the same, but the datum hash is the D hash, and this we can produce if we use an executable. And we give 3 parameters. The first one is the price. 10. The second one is the pubk hash of the owner. I have that in some file. I have to search. I don't find the file, so we have to produce it new. I think.
You're trying to,
Yeah, I could get the pubk hash of my wallet address. I think that one. Therefore, we have to use the VK.
Right.
Oh yes.
echo your testnet variable. What you have here.
Yeah, I think we don't need it. No. Hmm.
File. Yeah, you can add dash file at the, oh, it's payment verification key file, not file key.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's the K hash of my wallet address.
I can hear Lars saying PKH. Up key hash.
Fighting for the distribution. The fair distribution.
Hey, we can hear one of you.
The first parameter is the ADA we want in Loveless. The second one is our pubk hash. And the third one is our ID. In this example, 00015.
Nice.
And if we run that, we get it in a file. Oh, I see. I should add there that it is the 00015 file.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Because, and that creates, this creates a serialized transaction.
That creates. Yeah, it creates the in Plutus data. Yes.
Yeah, this
Yeah, we
is
can
going to create the JSON file with fields and constructor, right?
It produces this one. That's the Tatum hash. Just with the it produces this one.
And we don't need the policy ID to lock the NFT, right?
Sure, we need the policy ID because we are building the sale. The sale. Which one we use to differentiate the different tokens that we can buy. Yeah, we should look at it, I think. we are producing the NFT sale at this one. That is what we produced in the correct format. So this one is this one. And we need the ID because we have to, because we have to use it because else we don't can look which one we are using.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the byte string right there in 18.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's the one that you just created. Okay.
Yeah, that what we created, we are using then as dhash, the file name, and that's the datum hash.
Mhm.
Yeah, and else, yeah, then we have to sign and to submit the transaction.
And so
And I think I paid something like 4 times more than the normal transaction fee.
that sounds right. Yeah. Wait, so this, can you go back to that one more time? So the field on line 6, it says TX out datum hash,
Yeah,
but sorry.
and later it is the redeemer. For closing the transaction, it is the redeemer.
Right. But wait, can you show us D hash one more time? That's just the data.
That's just hashed, the other data hashed together.
That's the hash of that, the 3 parameters that we were just looking at, the public
Yes,
key
correct.
hash, the unsig, and the policy ID.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would try it, but my NFT is locked, so we have to close the sale.
All right. So can I try to unlock it from my end? What's locked there?
Yeah, sure. Please try.
Because what I need the datum from you. I need
it.
script file, and then in the redeemer. Okay, so this is where I got off track before. Show me again, or sorry, and you said this, but what again is the format of the redeemer? That's in the testnet folder? No.
No, what do you mean exactly?
When I try to build a transaction to unlock unsig 15 and I include the redeemer, what's the format of that redeemer?
Format, it should be, I think I have the files for the redeemer. No, not
The redeemer need not to be hashed. It can be the JSON file.
Yes,
I
exactly.
think it has to be the JSON file, or I think it will not work if it is the hash.
Right. Redeemer is not hashed, so it can be a JSON file. I should be able to write TX in redeemer file instead of TX in redeemer value.
I first tried to use it without the file, but that didn't work. I don't know, maybe I have done something wrong with the JSON value.
TX in redeemer, you could do
Another
file.
reason why it may not work is if you put a collateral which has NFTs. I had faced some problem like that, but of the collateral you have to make sure it has no NFTs in it.
Right, yeah, collateral must be Lovelace only. Okay, and sorry, okay, so I am gonna include, or anybody who wants to try to unlock this must include a TXIN Redeemer file. That's a JSON file. And so what does that file look like?
That file has to be written as it is, not like a, actually, I think you can actually just write the file. You can reference the file, or you can actually put the whole JSON script in it.
Yeah, I have, if you look at my screen, that's the transaction I used to unlock the NFT, but it should be the same
Close.
as
Okay, so
you
where's,
have used
I see,
for
close,
the buy, and I
close.
used the
Yeah,
datum pass.
constructor to fields blank. So when I'm looking at the file close.json right now, that's what my question was about. And I see that it has two key value pairs. One of them, it says constructor is 2, and the other, it says fields is an empty array. So it says constructor 2 because the index of close is the third Redeemer value that you have here in the on-chain contract, right? Buy, update, close. So the Redeemer
Yeah,
index,
it's
yeah,
this
there it is. Okay, you valued them here. Okay, so 0 for buy, 1 for update, 2 for close. And then I also notice in buy.json and close.json, we see those. Why is there, it says fields is an empty array. Is that a required element of this JSON? Right, so if you go to close.json, for example, in the root folder. Right.
You mean the field?
Yeah, why is that a must include here, or is that optional?
I think it's a must include, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a must. So, well, fields, well, for now we don't use fields. So it's an empty array, but I think we have to put it there anyway, because the Plutus data type as described in the in Plutus, so it has constructor and fields. So this is how it's defined.
Okay. Okay. Do you, Abdul Karim, if you have a link to that in the docs, can you share? And don't look for it if you don't worry. I want to.
Yeah, of course I will. Well, I don't have it right now, but
Yeah,
I will search for it. Okay.
if you see it. And off the top of your heads, can you think of any examples of what would go in those fields?
Yeah, so basically the redeemer and datum, they are using the exact same type, which is Plutus data. Okay. So in fields, we can have either a list, a map, or an integer. We can also have a byte string. Okay. So, well, Adrian, can you open the datum that you hashed earlier? Like, not hashed, that you have created earlier, that
Datum
datum.json.
pass JSON.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so this is
Yes.
the exact same thing as earlier.
Got it. Okay. So
Well, if you remember the first lecture or the second lecture, Lars tried to do an parameter n-typed validator with just data, and then he added another example with a typed datum and typed redeemer. So this is what he was using there. Sorry, go ahead.
very good. Thank you, guys. Okay, that's really helpful. I know it's amazing how much more I understand these days when I go back to the Plutus Pioneers lectures, and I'm still working through just a big discrepancy between seeing Lars do it for the first time and feeling like I understand what it means when we go to like a low level like this. So thanks for your patience on the tour here.
You're welcome. Well, I don't know. Well, we one day we will understand everything he said during the
Okay, so the unlock, I'm not going to use, and I'm saying me, I don't have to do this right now. I just want to think through what it will be. So it's not going to be a datum or a redeemer value. It's going to be files in both cases. So you have a script file, a datum file, a redeemer file, the collateral. Right. Okay. And actually, here's something that I discovered over the weekend that maybe is old news, but I think is worth sharing. I built a simple contract that validated only if a certain token existed both as input from the script and also as output back to the script, right? Just the authentication NFT that we were talking about months ago, but just in this kind of using it at a script address format. And I had a little bit of ADA attached to it, right? Test ADA, all on testnet. And I realized, hey, wait a minute, at some point, I'm going to need to fund this contract with more, like it's kind of like feeding it gas, right? It's just, I need to give it more funds so that it can keep running. And so that got me thinking, okay, well, if I grab one of the UTXOs from the script address and then another one from some wallet, and I put both of those into a transaction with one output back to the script address, my contract should pass. And it didn't. And the reason it didn't is if you've ever seen those order matters messages from Cardano CLI, basically the order has to be TX in from a script, and any of those TX ins from a script address must be immediately followed by their associated script file, datum, and redeemer. And only after that would you then put the next UTXO in, right? So when I was building the transaction, it said TX in script value, TX in datum, TX in redeemer, and then another TX in. If that helps anybody, that was a breakthrough for me, is recognizing how those comprise a set of values. Yeah, exactly. So right, lines 5 through 8. And if I wanted to include another TX in to fund this contract with just working funds, it would have to go between lines 8 and 9. Right. And so like this syntax, I think this syntax right here would fail because CLI would be confused about, hey, which of these TX ins, well, I guess in this case, right, it would work if the script, datum, and redeemer all went with line 5, but not line 4, right?
It works for sure. It worked for closing the sale and get my NFT
Okay,
back.
so this one worked because both of these UTXOs are coming from the contract. So maybe it's saying, all right, I can find both of these at this contract address. So script, datum, and redeemer go with those. But then if you had a TX in from somewhere else,
I think this one, the first TX in is from my wallet. I think it's only important that this is the correct order.
is a groove.
These four are in the after
The
each other.
first one can be input, right? Okay, that makes sense. All right, so as long as they come in chunks, anything that would need script, datum, and redeemer it goes immediately following the UTXO that would require that. Okay.
We can try the TX in datum value. And then you basically, I put into the chat how you can, you just need to enclose it in singular quotations,
Okay.
and we can possibly
Okay.
put the whole file in it.
And that would work, right, the same way as, because that's just a
Yes.
string. Yeah, so you could do it in file format.
Or
Or
a value format.
Cool. That makes sense. Thanks, Shanti. And thanks for showing up, man. And we recorded for you. I don't know, I forget when you got here.
I know, I saw the message and I was saying, nice.
So. All right. Adrian, thanks for setting all this up. So this is making me feel like, all right, so asynchronously, anybody who wants to can test what Adrian provided here. We also, with this repo that's now in GitLab/GimbalLabs PPBL on SIG's Market Plutus, all of us can go and mess around. If you want to try throwing a different policy ID in there and making sure that things compile, that kind of thing, we can all play with that. I feel ready to play with this from the front end perspective tomorrow, to leave CLI and to go try to do this with the serialization libraries and NAMI. How does everybody else feel?
Yeah, looking forward to that. Let's do it. Well, hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to fire at least a transaction, like a log transaction, and maybe we unlock it. Who knows? But what?
That would be such a great outcome. And I'm blocking my morning to work on that. So I'll just, maybe we start around the same time, a little early. Okay, yeah, let's set a time, Angela. Check the calendar. Can we start? We can start the same time, Matthias or Eli, if you were hoping to be here. But if not, we can start earlier. So it's really, do you guys want to be here for this?
Yes, but I have another meeting already scheduled at that time. So you can start early, I would say, and I can see if I can make it that time.
Yeah, let's jump in at 2 p.m. UTC and just start 2 p.m. UTC. And then anybody who's around can jump in. We could just do this one in the Discord. If we realize some of it's worth recording.
Okay. Just for me, I will jump off at 3 p.m. and I will come back like 30 minutes, or I don't know. So I'll be available just for 1 hour from 2 to 3, and then I will jump off and then I will come back. If that's
Totally fine. Good. After trying to keep up with you for an hour, I can always use 30 minutes to kind of collect my thoughts. So that's perfect.
Okay.
Just like right now, Adrian, you got all this stuff going, and I'm like, okay, good. A little bit of time to sink our teeth into them is probably going to be good.
Okay.
Hey, I really appreciate the pace of this and everybody kind of, I guess everybody's muted. You might all be swearing at me in the background, but like it feels like a nice calm space to really chew on understanding this stuff. So I hope this is coming across for everybody, and I'm excited for the mental models we're all building.
Yeah.
How did you know, James?
Wait, I missed that.
No, I said, how did you know?
Yeah. sync and async.
Indeed.
All right. Well, hey, I could stick around if anybody wants to look at anything else or talk anything through, but this feels like a really good spot to start. And I'm excited to try a few things on my own. Angela and Victor will talk earlier, and then 2 hours after that, jump in for the 2 p.m. Front-end integration session.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
everybody.
guys. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Cheers. Thanks so
See you
much.
tomorrow.
See you soon.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye. Thank